Hi, my name is Edison Thomas Newman. I'm 9 years old, in grade 4 Luckyville Primary School. Oh, my name? Well, yes, my dad named me after Thomas Edison, who is my dad's favourite inventor. I think that's why Dad wanted to follow him and tried to be the greatest inventor of all time, as he always says. I have huge respect for my dad, in spite of, well, all his failed experiments and inventions. My mum is always willing to be the first to try his new inventions. Sometimes she gets angry, but most of the time she shows great tolerance to Dad and to me, her inventurous son. Mum often tells me old stories about Dad's inventions at bedtime, and it always excites me. The story Mum tells me often appears in my dream, and in my dream he always succeeds with his experiments and inventions. He is a great inventor, or he will be. Once Dad was working on a couch with a footrest that would stretch out when the back of the couch was pushed backwards. But the footrest popped out too strong, and Mum was flung over the couch almost 2 meters away. She said very enthusiastically, "I flew for 2 seconds without wings." When he fixed it, she tried it again. This time, the back stretched out so powerful that she bounced up to the ceiling, hit the chandelier, and landed back on the couch after all the springs inside came out swinging. Now Mum enjoys a yellow, flower-printed sofa that stretches out nicely and is made by someone else. Dad always says it was his idea, but Mum says, while he kept failing, someone else was successful. Dad worked for a company where people said he would one day invent something great. He worked hard and seemed really excited working on his last invention, some GAS stuff. Unfortunately, it went wrong at the very end. Dad was lucky that night. He was home, happy about his work, thinking about reporting all his success on his new invention to the important people of the company the following day. He lost his laboratory and his job. That GAS stuff must have been very strong to blow up the whole laboratory. So that's why we moved here to Luckyville a couple of months ago. Dad has lots of exciting ideas that he wants to put into his future inventions. He has more time to try them now, since he doesn't have a job. My mum is a pharmacist. She goes to work after she drops me off at school and picks me up afterwards, and we come back home together. That's when Mum asks me millions of questions about schoolwork and friends and teachers, etc. So now I often ride to school on my bike, feeling question-free. Mum's shop is close to my school, and I sometimes walk there and stay until she closes. My mum is so kind and friendly that everybody likes her. I love my mum. She's the best mum in the world. But she is always telling me not to touch anything there. But sometimes, by which I mean quite often, I take things that I really need for my experiments. Mum doesn't know, and if she found out, I know I would be in trouble. So you have to keep this a secret. My school is pretty small, just like our town, Luckyville. There's only one class for each grade, and about 15 students are in each class. I like my classmates. They are willing to help with my experiments. They are really good friends of mine, and we all have one thing in common. We don't like our homeroom teacher, Dr Yella Grumpky. I mean, Dr Yella Grumpky. By the way, this is between you and me, okay? She's 32 years old as my mum and dad, but looks far older than them. and she is not married. She is quite stumpy and has a crooked nose that always reminds me of a witch. She has dull brown frizzy hair that is always tied up in a ponytail, but still looks very unruly and messy. She has frowning wrinkles between her eyes and on her nose. I think she should stop frowning at us all the time. And her name? Did you notice that? It really suits her. Although she is fairly short, she talks like a yelling giant or a roaring lion. I think she has bad ears, like my great-grandma. Dr Grumpky always yells us to behave ourselves. Otherwise, we'll get a proper behaviour management, which means punishment. Now you must be wondering why I call her Dr Grumpky. I'll tell you why. She is so proud of herself, holding 2 PhDs in sociology and education, that whenever she introduces herself to anybody, she always says, "I'm Dr Yella Grumpky." Once I accidentally called her Miss Grumpky in class, and she got upset and told me to say her name, Dr Grumpky, 200 times. I don't think she can help sick people, even though she's a doctor. To me, she is not a real doctor. But I still call her Dr Grumpky. Dr Grumpky lives alone in a small house. She doesn't seem to look after her garden at all. There are no flowers in the front yard, and the trees are dying. I often pass her house on the way to school and back home. The thick grey curtains are always closed, and so are the windows. The house looks like a ghost house. My classmates said nobody had ever seen anybody visit her. I wouldn't risk going into that ghostly house either. Interestingly, she says she likes reading poetry. Once I went to her office. I didn't want to, but I had to. And I saw some books on her desk. A selection of great love poems, number 1, number 2, and number 3. She must be really fond of love poems. She yelled at me that day, "I don't want to be bothered when I read these beautiful poems." She looked ugly when she said that, and had bad breath. Why did I have to go to her office? Well,